Okay, so let's talk about the graded part of week 10. What I did is I spent some time working with Gemini. If you don't know, that's my LLM Gen AI tool of choice. In this case, I had it go through, and that's the link I've provided here. And it created, I think it was around 27 of the following that we're about to look at. So let me just scroll up to the top, right? So for each scenario, right? So you all will select, and select one, and you look through here, challenge yourself. In this, what this is you're going to set a breakpoint, right, in a particular area. Now, in this case, I use my version of the carbon footprint, so you may have a different line. You'll have to find that. And I'll give you an example. I'll walk through one myself in a second. So I would definitely say, choose at least one that would challenge you, to actually talk about, because you're going to actually write about it in your discussions. But first, the first thing you're going to do, because each one of you are going to choose different ones. So first, choose one from a different group. So if you choose like 13 from group 5, and then you choose like from, let's see, is this 5, 6, you might choose 16, right? So choose different groups, and then of course different questions. And then what you'll do in your reply is you'll just tell us first, right? And you'll use like a heading. So I would say maybe, what group was this? This was group 5, which was rendering the UI. Okay, ooh, right here. Okay, so I'd say rendering the UI. Oh, and look, that's already heading 3. God, like I almost planned it. And then there you would choose which one you're going to do. Okay, so my breakpoint would be 14. And I'll show you what these mean in a minute. I'm just showing you now, right? So then do another one. So do 2 of these. And what you could do is go ahead and hit reply. And the reason you're going to do that is so that students coming in after you will know which ones have already been taken. And that will be helpful to them, because if you choose one that's already been done, you won't get points for it. And each one of these is worth 35 points. Okay, so choose. So and I have the carbon footprint. Now this is for the end of week 9. Okay, so this is after we added the household purchases. Okay, so in this case, I'll show you the one I'm gonna do one that's not on the list, because I didn't want to take one from the list, and because I think I generated enough of them. So I decided to do one that says a breakpoint is populate the form. So the file is file handler. The function is populate form for edit. And then it tells me a line number. Again, if your line number is different, it's okay. You can find this, it'll give you the relevant code as well. And then it says with at least one entry in the table, click edit, right? Inspect well, let's just do that first. I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to find so in this case, I'm going to go, okay, form handler, okay, form handler. I'm going to find populate, okay, and then it says 76. I think 76 was a line, right? Household input equals entry input. Okay, so with at least one, so I do have one here, right? So boom. So now that I have this breakpoint, I'm going to activate it. So the benefit here is that this is not uncommon thing for me to have you do, especially during a partial interview. Okay. So you get more practice basically here. All right, so let's see what it wants me to do. So first I'd have to understand how would I activate this breakpoint, because right now my code is at a point where I've said, okay, I want to have you run up to this point. Now again, hopefully you've been using DevTools this whole time, but if you haven't been, I'm telling you, now is the absolute time, because it will actually make you a better coder, and you're gonna need it anyway. Okay, so let's say, so how would I activate this? Well, let's see, I'm inside the populate. So this is where you have to understand, what do I have to do to activate this breakpoint? I'm in populate form edit. Well, what makes populate form edit run? Well, the edit button does. And this is where having a level of understanding about what the code is helps you answer questions that I would have, because that's probably something I would ask. So I would say hit edit. And when I hit edit, then I activate this breakpoint. Okay, so now okay, so now it says with at least one entry, which I had, and in this case, it actually even told you, but this would be where it'd be like, you know what, try it. How would you activate that? Right? So now inspect the entry object in the scope. As you step over each line in this function, watch the form in the web page. How does each line of code correspond to the changes that you see in the interface? So this is the question, right? So I'd come over here and I'd be like, okay, right? So I could look at, what has already been updated, right? So the square footage, let's see, my square footage was 1700. Okay, it is 1700, but this would also be where I have to make sure my update functions, because I am only repopulating right now. So I'd go ahead and step, and then I'd go annual purchases. Okay, right? So annual purchases checked. So annual purchases checked is here, and it's looking at the entry to see if it was checked, and then it's setting this yes or no. So I'd step into that, step into that. Okay, so now I'm actually at the update because I'm at the end of the populate. So let's see if I have, okay, how does each line of code correspond to changes you see in the user interface? So I could talk about from this point 76, we updated the has washing machine input to checked based on our entry, which for me was true. So we updated all of these things, right? This is what this code did. So now at this point, I could keep walking through, and I recommend you because now you might ask yourself, what would happen now in this code? Again, this is what you need to actually talk about is your answer to this. And it actually gives you the concept that you're working on was programmatically setting the value and check properties of the form inputs to manipulate the DOM. Okay, so this helps you give words to the things you've been coding. This, to me, I hope this is a helpful exercise because, and this is something now that I've done it, I'm like, we could have been doing this earlier, but perfect time now, I hope. All right, so I would keep going. I'd say, okay, now, and could I predict based on knowing my code where it would go next? Okay, now we're at the end of the function. Oh, yeah, so this is actually where this got called. Okay, so form handler is from my import, right? So I could scroll up and I'd go, yep, I imported that JS file, and that locally scoped variable called form handler represents my exported functions, right? So again, you can take this as far, and this is really practicing. This is where you get practice for doing the code review. Okay. So let's see, did I answer everything? Yeah, I just had to give me one that wasn't in there. And I already did that. So yeah, I feel now. So what you would do in your post is you would come back and answer the question and actually answer the question in your best way of understanding. Now, your understanding here also is, so complete this work on your own without any help from internet resources, then update your post with your answer. So once I come down here and I hit this, which by the way, that's not mine, I'll get rid of this, then I could come over here and I could say edit, and then I would do, right, my answer. Answer to the question, right? Answer to the question. And anything else you want to add here that you also learned while you were doing this, because somebody else can come along and then benefit from the work that you have done here, or they can ask you questions about it. Okay? All right, so then what you will do is you will apply to one student and give them feedback or what you learned from their post or what you would add to their post. So something in here, and this is worth 30 points, okay? So this is intended to help you prepare for, like I did last week, was just getting some way to talk about it. So this is just a next level down to help you prepare and to see how well you can walk through DevTools, because that definitely would be something I'm going to ask you to do in a technical interview. Okay, I'll talk to you later.